everyone, I'm Aubrey Schmalley and I'm the owner of Sensational Achievements and the creator of Buddy Activated Learning. Today I wanted to talk with you more about dysgraphia and specifically when someone says your child has a visual motor problem, but then when you look at the details, maybe visual motor is the box that it gets categorized in on the evaluation, but there's really some underlying elements that are contributing to the presentation of having a visual motor deficit that really need to be looked at a little bit differently in order to provide the best support and the best intervention. Visual motor issues may not just be from difficulties with visual perception or integrating vision and motor. They could come from difficulty coordinating and grading your muscles, so the figure doesn't look very accurate when they copy it, which drives down their score. It could be that there's a visual monitoring issue where you need to actually train the visual system to guide what the fingers are doing. Or it could be a motor planning issue where the child just doesn't know how to approach the build of the figure and they're still struggling with the sequence of what to do. We've covered the fine motor, we've covered the visual monitoring, and the last thing is motor planning. Motor planning can significantly affect a child's ability to copy a design when you know they did really fantastic, maybe on the visual perception part of their standardized testing. So they got a high score recognizing the image, they know what the image looks like, they're able to see it in their mind, but they're not able to take that image and then motor plan the sequence that they're supposed to go through to be able to reproduce it. So some different examples that I have seen are anything that involve multi-part designs as designs get more and more complex. So I'll just put a couple multi-part designs on the board. And when the child goes to copy, you might see a very kind of segmental approach, or what might happen is the child starts in the wrong spot, and instead of going down, or they might go down and over, and then they might go up and across to produce the shape. Or they might start at this side and then try to go around, which creates a flipping position because they started in the wrong spot. That's called a kinesthetic reversal. My approach was wrong, so therefore my outcome was wrong. This is also very common when you have kids that start in the wrong spot and try to make a 5, or start in doing the wrong curve and then their 2 flips around. So I do see this a lot in writing, in B's and D's. I'm always trying to look for, do I have a kinesthetic reversal just because a child started in the wrong spot? And if that's the case, you need to retrain the motor plan, get away from tracing activities where they can kind of use their own strategy to stay on the line, and really, again, maybe work towards dot-to-dot sorts of things where we put in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to get them to follow the motor plan, and then do the same thing with their eyes closed so that they can engage that kinesthetic feedback system and be able to internalize that sequence for themselves to be able to reproduce it in another situation. If the issue is really that they're kind of approaching the lines in an awkward way, they're not necessarily drawing a sequence that makes sense, they're just picking lines and gradually trying to add them to build the figure, you might be looking at more of a motor planning problem. And in this case, I really do start working with kids to identify what thing do I build first. Functionally, if a child wants to build an animal, for example, and let's say it's a horse, I'm working with a kid right now on this particular one. He's sold on the horse, he really needs to build it, but he maybe starts with the head, because when you're drawing a person, you always start with the head, right? the best place to start is actually with the body. So we talk about making the big oval, and then what comes off of the big oval. Oh, now we have to add some legs. Oh, we have to add his neck, and then we add his head. And now you see that the drawing becomes much more proportional than if I had started with the head and then tried to add all these extras as I go, where then maybe I get lost, or maybe I start putting things in weird spots because I'm drawing the neck like this and I'm drawing the head over here. So I don't have everything sequenced the way that I need to for it to come out accurately. So the last thing that I sometimes see is that when you're giving a child a dot grid design and they're supposed to be able to put the design on the dot grid, let's see, let me think of an example. It could be a triangle, let's say, we'll keep it easy. That they don't know where to start or which dot to pick. And so maybe they'll start down here, but then their triangle is going to end up really, tall and skinny because the dots that they picked to create it are not the right ones. This is a big sign if you think your child might have a motor planning issue and you're not really sure because you only copied designs that didn't have dots in them. Definitely try out using a dot grid. Have some different designs. There's plenty of things that you can print off and look up very easily online and see, is it that the child can't see what they're copying or accurately perceive what they're copying, or is it really that they're just not motor planning their approach effectively and they might just be concentrating on connecting dots, but that's not really leaving them with the right figure or the most accurate figure at the end of the design copying process. Those are my tips for today on helping a child with visual motor deficits who also maybe has a dysgraphia presentation learn how to address these issues so that they can have better outcomes in their writing and drawing skills. I'm Aubrey Schmalley. If you like this video, please hit the like button, leave a comment, ask me questions, and I will try to respond. I hope that this helps you help your child be successful, and if you're a therapist, gives you a few different ideas of how to work with a child who may have some of these things that show up in their visual motor testing. I will be back soon with more tips and strategies and activities to help your child be successful.